Since the early 2000s, there has been an upsurge of the use of terror by national, regional and international groups that is targeted at established states. This is according to Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who indicated that while condemning terrorist activities in all forms, it is essential to recognize that these actions are energized by vast numbers of young people that work as foot soldiers and have reached a point where they feel there are no alternative options.
They are willing to risk their lives and ostracization from broader society to exercise the only form of voice that they feel is available to them. We must ask why so many young people are willing to ply such a dangerous path. As we ask this important question, we must expect answers that also point the finger at the challenge of leadership in Africa.
Africa has been termed as a fragile continent, with countries being brought to their knees by violence. Sad to note, though, according to Bishop Tutu, is that the significance of the coexistence of peace and justice are not limited to post-conflict environs.
This is proven by the establishment of truth and reconciliation commissions in non-post-conflict contexts across the continent, from Morocco to Ghana. The breadth of these transitional justice activities speaks to deep-rooted structural challenges that African societies face in accessing peace and justice beyond violent conflict settings.
Tutu says that even as Africa examines this trend, it is paramount to realize that it all boils down to the African leadership.
The tragedy of elite leadership in Africa has been its focus on benefiting a small minority. The ageism towards young Africans in the sphere of leadership cannot be overstated, considering that young people make up the vast majority of the African population.
He says that peace and justice are two halves of the same whole, yet their coexistence remains contested.
It is this contestation that drove the establishment of the International Criminal Court, whose mandate is to safeguard justice for the oppressed, especially where the might of the oppressor tips the scales in the favor of the latter. The path of the ICC in Africa has been less than smooth. In particular, the court has been accused of bias against Africa and posing risks to fragile peace regimes on account of its actions against powerful leaders.
As a solution to the ailing Africa, peace will only be found if Africa as a whole is prepared to put forward young Africans as the leaders of the present and not relegate their relevance to the future.
It is young Africans that must captain the ship that is Africa and speak for themselves and all of us. Young Africans continue to fight for a place in the global space, irrespective of the symbolic heritage that they have been given.
Nancy Njoki, GBS News.